Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jody with Autentico USA, and today I wanted to talk with you a little bit about our Volterra lime paint. This is fairly new to the United States. It is a heavy-bodied lime paint. It is a natural paint. You can do a lot of faux finishing with this paint. It is extremely thick. It is not like your traditional latex paints or even your chalk paints. It is very, very thick. You can use it for faux finishing, texturing, layering. There's thousands of looks that you can get with this paint. I'm still learning about this paint, so you'll be with us on this journey as we create different looks, textures, and just have a good time experimenting with the paints. Today, I'm going to attempt to do a textured finish using an IOD, which is Iron Orchid Designs. I'm going to use one of their stamps. I'm going to use the tile to impress in the paint, and then we're going to do some finishing to it. Okay, this is a piece of dry wood panel that we gave a coat of vintage fern to, and this is our chalk paint. Volterra does need a base of an absorbable paint, like a chalk paint with no finish on it, because it needs something to grab onto. So I chose the chalk in the fern color, which when it dries, it looks like this. Now, this is a very sloppy coat. This undercoat is not going to be seen, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And this is just one coat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Volterra, and this color is Herbs. You can apply this with a brush or with a trowel. You can roll it on. Keep in mind, though, it is very thick. In fact, I'll show you how thick it is. It is really just a super thick paint. That's all the lime that's in the paint that makes it that thick. The other great thing about Volterra is that it's also antibacterial and anti-mold. So if you use these on walls, you'll have that as a natural deterrent, especially if you live in a moist environment. So I'm going to apply the paint, and I'm putting it on very thick. And I will tell you that today it is a very warm, muggy, rainy day. That does affect your paint drying times, and it affects your work. So you will have to allow for extra dry time when working with this if it is a warm day or a muggy day. I don't want to see a lot of brush strokes in my finished product. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my trowel and I'm just going to smooth it out. Try to smooth out some of those brush strokes there. Doesn't have to be super perfect, but I'm just trying to get rid of some of the texture, and then I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Just smoothing it out a little bit. There will still be some texture, but that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to take my sunflower stamp. Now, just for some clarification, I've got the stamp on one side of the carrier. These other stamps are not being used there on the other side, so it won't transfer. So I'm only using the big sunflower part. Just making sure that all of my lines have gotten a press, because we want to make sure that it gets into the Volterra. Okay. And then I'm going to lift up, one hand in the upper right, one hand in the lower left, and I'm going to lift straight up. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. So now, depending on the climate in your area and what your temperature is, this could take up to an hour or more to dry. You can speed it up with a heat gun, or you can put a fan on it, but we'll come back and we will show you the next step, and we will also show you what our drying time was. You can actually see here in the corner where it is starting to dry a little bit. You can see there's some variant in the sheen. So it is already starting to dry. Okay, and I'm also going to do another one on this corner, because we can do a couple of different looks with it. So we'll repeat the process of applying the Volterra. Volterra comes in 70 plus colors. Most of them are neutral and pale tone colors. This is also soap and water cleanup. You don't have to use any kind of mineral spirits or denatured alcohol to clean this up, since it is also water-based. And that's one reason too why there's no odor or no fumes. I have found that the best stamps to use are the ones that have thin lines and not the large flat surfaces, because it needs to press into the paint and form that design. And we're going to lift straight up from opposite corners. Lovely. Okay. All right. So we'll wait for it to dry and we'll come back and do some finishing. Okay, so it has been about an hour and a half since we last applied the Volterra. I did hit a couple of spots with a heat gun just to speed up the drying a little bit, but you absolutely can let it dry on its own. If you notice, there are some darker spots and then there's some lighter spots. The darker spots is where it's still drying. So you want to look for about a 10% dry area before you start this next step, and that's what we have. We have just a few darker areas. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my trowel and I'm going to burnish the entire piece, and it is going to change the depth and dimension of the Volterra, and it's really going to bring out that design. So to burnish, you're just going to press down and you're just going to start going back and forth over the design. I'm pressing down with medium pressure. You can see it starting to bring out the darker spots, bringing out that herbs color. And I don't know if it's showing up on camera here, but their raised spots are actually getting shinier. Now, I will admit that this large trowel is probably a little bit of overkill for this small space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to, I have an IOD rubber trowel that I'm going to use, and you can burnish with that as well. Yes, that's much better. So I'm pressing down pretty firm, going over the area here. And you can just see that design, the sunflower design, really starting to come out. Now, the wetter the piece is, the more color you get. You just have to find your own preference of how you want to do it. And I don't know, it's showing up on camera pretty good though, but in person, the design is really coming out. Okay, let me switch back here to this trowel. And I found that you can use several different tools. Another trick that I like to use is a plain paper bag, just a brown paper bag. And I'm gonna start buffing with the bag. And that is really shining up the piece. It's really putting a nice sheen on it. It's bringing out even more of the outline of the sunflower. It's looking really good. And it feels really velvety smooth. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so that one is done. I'm gonna switch to the other one. Okay, now this one is a little bit thicker. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but there's some cracking in the Volterra, and that's because the paint is so thick and I hit it with the heat gun. So there's moisture getting trapped, it's trying to get out, it's causing crackle, which is great. That just adds more to the texture and depth. So I'm gonna start burnishing it. Oh yeah. Okay, so for this first one, I'm gonna use our Autentico Taupe wax. As you can see, this is a very well-loved can. The taupe is a grayish, beigeish color. If you have never used Autentico waxes, you are in for a treat. It's like putting melted butter on toast. It just glides across the surface. It's very easy to move and manipulate. And we're just gonna start working it into the surface. And now that really brings out that texture. If I miss a couple of spots, I'm not worried about it. That's just gonna add to the overall look and give it more depth and texture and dimension, movement. Now, there's other things you can do with the sunflower. You can actually paint the insides of the petals and then you can sand it. the possibilities are endless. Like I said, we're just now learning and working with this medium, so you are learning right along with us. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. I hope it's showing up as good for you guys as it is here in person. Imagine this as like a backsplash in a bathroom. Yeah. Now I'm just kind of buffing it to a sheen. Oh yeah. And it is so buttery smooth and soft. It is gorgeous in person. That wax really picks up all the little nooks and crannies. So now what I'm doing, just taking my little sanding sponge and just kind of going across it after I've waxed it, obviously. And what that's doing is bringing back some of the herb color back through there. Oh, wow. It almost looks like it's carved in stone. Oh, yeah. That is really beautiful. Absolutely stunning. You could put these on drawer fronts of a dresser, a wardrobe, your kitchen cabinet doors. You'd have to seal it a little bit differently though, because you don't want to seal your kitchen cabinets with wax. Okay, so that's the taupe wax. I wonder if we should try, let's go with the gray wax. Ooh, I like the gray over the herbs. That keeps it cool. It is a cool green color. And this is, I forgot to show this, but that's the color of the gray wax there. Okay, so we got the wax in. I think what I'm gonna do, because this isn't showing up as much as I hoped. I think maybe the gray was a little too close in color. So let me sand it. Let's see what happens when we sand it. I mean, that's the great thing about paint. If you don't like something, you can always remove the wax, you can remove the paint, you can try sanding it. Don't ever freak out if you don't like the look of your piece. There's always something that can be done to remedy that. Now, sometimes it might take a little bit of work to figure that out. It is really very pretty. Oh my gosh. It's just very subtle. The way that the light hits it, that is gorgeous. Okay, and then I'm gonna buff it some more with my microfiber mitt. Just bring it to that shine. We have 16 different colors of waxes. We have clear, we have light brown, dark brown, amber, taupe, gray, white, black, blue, green, anthracite, and then we have 4 colors of metallic waxes. So it's just infinite possibilities of what you can do with your different layering and shading, the different colors with the different waxes. Oh yeah, you can really see it shining up now. Oh yeah, that is spectacular. I'm really happy with that. Let's switch back to this one and let me buff it some more. Oh yeah. And the more the wax dries and the more you buff it, the more it shines. Let me show you that. Oh yeah. That is stunning. That is absolutely stunning. Okay, so this would be a completed piece of work here. And as I've mentioned, we've given you a couple of ideas about what you can do this on. We will continue to work with this product. And as we come up with ideas, we'll share it with you. I'm going to be experimenting with more textures and techniques. You can look up on YouTube, Volterra. It's Volterra. There are some videos out there. But we will keep working on it and bring you more product, and stay tuned for more videos. You can visit our website at www.Autentico Paint USA, and we have our online retailers listed there, and you could get these products and start experimenting and coming up with your own ideas. So just keep following us for more.